From season 4 theory video. Have you ever wondered why the number 47 and 74 constantly pop up in this show? Maybe you have not noticed it, but if you have, then you would say yes. If it happened once, then hey, that's just a little something. But if it happens 2, 3, 4 times, then they must be trying to tell us something about these numbers. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about these numbers and why they keep on popping up. I guess the best example of this that we can see is truly book 74, season 1, episode 6.
"73 books. What if we, people of this town, are living the book that has yet to be written? What if this is book 74?
So not only do we get a mention of the number 74, we actually get it in the title. But if it was just that one time, then I would say, hey, that's just a coincidence. But nope, it's not just that one time. We see it over and over again. 47, Tabitha at the hospital. If we pay close attention to when Tabitha is finally able to escape fromville, we see that she winds up inside of the hospital. And yes, it is shocking that we see her in this hospital. And more shocking when we see her look outside the window and we see that she is no longer in fromville. But if we pay close attention and we look at her actual door number that she's in at the hospital, we can clearly see that the door number is 47. Is this a coincidence, or are the showrunners trying to tell us something? Again, if it was just these 2 times, I would really understand you saying that, Teflon, you are just grasping at straws here. But unfortunately, for people who do think that, it's not just those 2 times. They still bring this up over and over again. 47, the RV radio. When we see Boyd, Jim, Donna, Randall, all trapped inside of the RV with the monsters closing in on them and them stopping outside. In fact, we are going to see this scene play out under Julie's vision later on this season. But this is not only an important part, and people wonder why they picked this scene to do. There's a reason why they picked this scene to do. First off, we have the knocking that we hear that they say is coming from underneath the RV that they hear. And this is what eventually gets them out. But if we look at the radio, we can clearly see when the radio starts flashing, it flashes the number 47. Yet another time, we have seen this number 47 come into play. Yet there's more. 47, Tilly. Now, I love Tilly. You know, she's one of my favorite characters in the show. A lot of people had her wrong. A lot of people thought she was a witch. A lot of people thought she was up to no good. I never thought that about Tilly. I thought this Tilly was misunderstood. She was a free spirit because she had survived, or she got diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. But when we listen to Tilly and talk about her children and grandchildren, it's a specific number they put out there.
Sweetie, I've had 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. I know an expecting mother when I see one.
She could have had 6 children, 9 grandchildren, maybe Tilly a free. Who knows? But they didn't make it that. They made it specifically 47. And this cannot be a coincidence. After all the things I have shown you, I would have to say that we can constantly see the number 47 and the number 74 being brought up over and over again. And there has to be a reason why. Yes, there truly is. Yet again, there's more. 47, Tabitha at the lighthouse. One of the most important scenes in this whole show is Tabitha at the lighthouse. I have done many videos breaking down everything that happens in this scene and exactly what is going on in this scene. But there's one thing I'm going to tell you about right now that happens in this scene. And we have 47 being brought up. But there has to be a reason. I think I have given you a whole lot of this number popping up, and maybe now you're on board with it. But before I tell you exactly what this has to do with the show, I gotta bring it back a little. Now, my man Real from Real Theories Enigmas, check out his channel. It's really great. He always talks about the Wizard of Oz, and I think he's correct when dealing with the Wizard of Oz. And I think we have gotten a Wizard of Oz moment in this show. Because if we deal with the Wizard of Oz in this show and we look at what the Wizard of Oz was, it was about a man who was pretending to be a magical wizard. And that's where we get the iconic line,
"Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain."
This line, iconic as it is meant to say that, hey, there's something going on behind the scenes, and there's always a man behind the curtain. And I think this is exactly what has happened to a lot of people when they have watched this show from, that they have not been able to pay attention to the man behind the curtain. And let me explain. When we are first introduced to this show from, they tell us that this is a magical town. And at nighttime at this town, for some unstrange, unknown reason, there are creatures that come out of the mists in the forest. And after they come into town and they hunt the many people that they start hunting out there in the town, all of a sudden they disappear back into the magic of the forest. But we know that this is not totally true because we see Tabitha find a way downstairs into what we can now call the Monsters Lair. And what do we see in the Monsters Lair? Do we see some mystical fairies down there? No, we've seen some dirty old humans that had made a bad deal sleeping on the rocks. And that is the behind the curtain moment that I think a lot of people have missed. They all wanted to believe that these were magical creatures. It showed you behind the curtain that it was not the case. There were no magical creatures. They were just human beings who made a bad deal and now are sleeping on dirty clothes underneath the town in the sewage, basically. And that is what's going on. And that is the Wizard of Oz moment that I think people have missed. And also, we know this from the autopsy, right? It's just regular humans. That's what it is. So what does 47 or 74 mean? Let me explain. In the world of high concept science fiction, there are no coincidences. If you see a number twice, it's a quirk, but if you see it 50 times, you have to look at it as some type of signature. For J.J. Abrams and the creators of From, that signature is the number 47. To understand the mystery of From, we have to understand the 47 Society. And it started at Palmer College, where students proved that 47 is mathematically essential of life. J.J. Abrams then picked this up, this virus, during his time on Star Trek, turning 47 into a universal constant for parallel universes. In Fringe, executive producer Jeff Pinkner used 47 to show us when the walls between the worlds were thinning. Shapeshifters had 47% mercury in their blood. Clocks were stuck at 4:07. Now Pinkner, who is good friends with J.J. Abrams, has moved to the town of From, and he has brought this math with him. All of the things I have showed you before, that point to 47 that I've showed you in this show, he has moved that over and now is applying this to what we see in this show. So you have to understand that these people are really good friends. And it started, and the core of their relationship was probably forged at Bad Robot, which is J.J. Abrams' production company. Abrams and Pinkner worked closely on Alias and Lost. And by the time Fringe started, Abrams trusted Pinkner to be the architect of the multiversal universe. And this is where the 47 obsession comes from. It became a private language between them, a way to wink at each other through the scripts, knowing that if one put a 47 on the clock, the other person would catch the reference. And that is what we're dealing with here. Friends winking at each other about the 47, and what it truly means is parallel dimensions. That's what we're dealing with here. That's why when you see Tabitha and she's walking up and she has the vision of the watchtower or the lighthouse, the vision, you don't see the cards, but when she does get there, the cards are flipped over. It's the same thing, but just in a parallel dimension. But you tell me what you think in the comments. Do you like this theory, or do you think it's something else? You let me know. All I can do is put it out there for you. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.